BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Kollman Gearhart. A former athlete and motivational coach, I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
In today's BTB short, I want to talk to you about something that is very close to my heart. Something that I believe will be the power to transform not just our lives, but our very destinies. And that's this concept of desperation. I'll be honest with you guys that I'm in a moment in my life where it's going to require me to be desperate. There's a lot of nuances and situations, whether it's work or finances or direction, that requires me to tap into this desperation mode. And the crazy part about desperation, in full transparency, is I've already been there and done that when it comes to how I've tapped into it to create success, to create moments in my life that everybody on this podcast absolutely is jaw dropped by. And it's a little bit of an irony because it's one thing to go do something great. It's another thing to go and do it again. And I know you might be thinking, like, desperation? What, like, that doesn't sound very motivating. That sounds like you're just trying to hang on to hold on to the handlebars for dear life. This isn't just another word of making you feel like there's hopelessness. It's not a prerequisite for giving up. It's the antidote for you to go out and do something extraordinary. But do me a favor and bear with me for a moment, because I'm here to tell you that your desperation can be the game changer, a catalyst for massive growth and unimaginable success in your life. It makes me think back to a situation when I was growing up where I was desperate to see my mom sober. And part of that process and plan and situation was I had to face some really difficult conversations with my mom because I was desperate to have some sort of normalcy in my life. I took my mom to her first rehab when I was 16 years old. And I just remember that moment of chaos and conflict that led to her finally saying yes to get into my car to go to that rehab. And there was every ounce of resistance and making the moment something that was just completely chaotic. And I felt desperate to see my mom sober because I'd never seen her sober. Throughout the entire childhood that I had, it was her under the influence. That was very challenging for me to grasp. But when you see desperation isn't just about hitting rock bottom, for me wasn't that moment of taking my mom to rehab. It's more about, what do you do when you find yourself there? It's about smothering the courage to look adversity in the eye and say, not today. And this BTB short is for the people that are either trying to accomplish something or the ones that have accomplished a lot of things that they never thought they could imagine, and they're trying to continue to find that same desperation to do something great. When it comes to people that I've helped and have helped me in my business, the people that I love to hire, the ones that are desperate, that are honest with themselves to go out and do extraordinary things, that they're not trying to settle or be complacent. They're willing to adapt and adjust. They're willing to go out and make things happen. And I know exactly what it feels like, to where you feel like the odds are stacked against you. You feel like the whole world is conspiring to keep you down. But let me tell you something. I also know what it's like to rise above it, to defy expectations, to carve out a path of my own making, because I made the decision that I was never going to feel the way that I was feeling in that moment ever again. Whether it's losing 100 pounds, whether it's finding a way to play Division I college tennis, or whether it's starting a podcast. I got desperate. I literally got to the point where these are the things that I wanted to do because I desperately want to have a voice that can help other people. And I refuse to give up. I refuse to be the status quo. And that's hard for me because here I am as a husband and a father trying to provide for a family, and I find myself trying to fit into the status quo because that's stable. And when you're stable, you're able to do these things that families are supposed to do. And I feel like right now in this particular moment that I'm far from stable. That as I've reached for stability, I've become more unstable. And that's what leads me back into this moment of desperation. So knowing that I have been in a desperate state before and knowing that I'm facing a desperate state now, how do you overcome it? And that starts with a choice. You have to make a choice to believe in yourself when no one else will. A choice to keep pushing forward when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to quit. I can't tell you how many times when I left full-time coaching and I've gotten to this real world 9 to 5 working for somebody else moment, there's been more often than not times that I've wanted to quit. And to be honest, there have been times that I have quit. The worst type of quit. It's the quit where you're there, but you're not there because you're mentally checked out, but you've hung up your gloves. You've decided, you know what? These people aren't treating me the way that I want to be treated. These people are giving me a hard enough time to where I fall into insecurity and self-doubt, and I'm just like, what is the point here? Why am I doing this? Here's what I want you to do when it comes to desperation. Take a moment and think about your biggest dreams, the pie in the sky goals, your deepest desires. And these are the things that keep you up at night with excitement and anticipation. So once you have that in your head, now imagine what it would feel like to achieve those dreams, to stand at the summit of your success and bask in the glow of your accomplishments. Whenever I talk about imagining and envisioning success, people always want to talk different about that. They want to talk about the shortcomings. They want to talk about not being good enough. They want to sit in the suck because that's how we're wired today, unfortunately. Our world has designed us to be more in the suck than in the possibility and the success. In my opinion, that's the truth. But as you're thinking about what you can accomplish, what you can do, to dream, to be enthusiastic, to want to reach for something that's more, to be desperate for that. When I'm a coach and I come across a player, if that player has desperation to do something great, I can teach them all the skills. I can teach them the ins and outs and nuances of the sport of tennis, but I can't teach them to have the desire and the heart to do something extraordinary. So as you start thinking about that mindset, it feels pretty good, doesn't it? Let me tell you something. Even in your darkest of moments, even when it feels like the whole world is against you, that feeling is still within reach. But it's going to take more than just wishful thinking. It's going to take action. So when it comes to desperation and how important it is to acquire success in your life, I want to talk about 3 different action items that you can implement today to where desperation bridges the gap to where you want to go with your success. And the first piece of this is you have to embrace your desperation. Everyone looks at desperation like it's a flaw, and it's so far from that. It's so far from the truth. This is not a flaw. This is something that you care about. This is something that you resonate with. This is something that you want. This is your passion. Why do our passions always have to be suppressed by what people think or how we're judged or whatever it looks like? It's going to take an incredible amount of discomfort for you to go after what you're trying to do in your desperation. But you got to lean into that. Use your desperation as a driving force to propel you forward, to push you past obstacles and defy the odds. Everybody, most of the time, wants you to fail. And I don't know why that's the case. I wish the world was different, but embrace the suck. Embrace the understanding that people don't care a blip about you. Most people don't care. So as you know the primary voice of people, are you willing to tap into your desperation to continue to defy the odds, to continue to overcome, to continue to have those voices be less and have your desperation be more? And as you're done embracing that desperation, the second step is to set clear, concise goals. Have a vision. When you're thinking about going after something and being desperate, start having a clear vision of how you're going to allocate your time, your resources, everything to accommodate that goal. And it will take some time to define what success looks like for you. I'm not saying over-plan and over-analyze, but I'm saying just set some benchmarks for you to go after. Because if you don't have desperation with benchmarks, what are you using your time and energy for? At that point, you're just going around in circles. You're not going towards anything. You're just going towards this ambiguous, nonchalant moment in your life that's meaningless. But whether it's landing a dream job or starting your own business or achieving financial freedom, whatever that may be, set clear, actionable goals that will keep you focused and motivated. This is one of my Achilles heels, if I have to be honest. Some of the goals and tangibles that I set for my life, sometimes I make it too of a gray area rather than black and white. But this podcast, it's been different. Back last year when I started the BTB project, I had a goal of making 100 episodes by the end of 2023. So 1 calendar year of the podcast, my goal was to have 100 episodes in the first 12 months. And when I set that clear, concise goal, I had to average, weighing in vacations and holidays, about 2 episodes a week. Now, as I was going towards that goal, I had some pretty good consistency. I did a good job of setting clear, concise goals and achieving them. But I had some weeks where I skipped. I had some weeks where I slacked. I had some weeks where I had stuff come up with the family and I wasn't able to record. But I still in the back of my mind said, you know what? I'm going to do 100 episodes. And I remember going into December at 88 episodes. And I had to record 12 episodes in 4 weeks to accomplish my goal. Now, 12 episodes in 4 weeks with all the moving parts that I had in my life was daunting. It was chaotic. I ended up filming my last 8 podcast episodes on the last 3 days of the year. 8 episodes in 3 days. I was trying to stack interviews. I was trying to stack BTB shorts. But the reason why was because I was desperate to hit 100. And it was so invigorating. It was so exciting. The last time I felt like that, honestly, was when I was trying to lose 100 pounds. I'll lose 100 pounds to play Division I college tennis. Everyone looked at me like I had 10 heads. I didn't have very many friends at the time. It was a very challenging moment in my life because I just felt different. I felt like no one could understand me. And when I was doing that 100 podcast episode challenge to myself, I felt the exact same way. I felt like I was isolating myself from my family. I felt like I was maybe not producing the best content because I was releasing so much content. I was thinking about, are people going to still like what I was doing? Are my interviews any good? Are these BTB shorts any good? I kept going all over the place. But setting that clear, concise goal and achieving it truly was something that made me feel proud. That made me feel like all of the desperation that I had, which was a healthy desperation, was exactly what I needed in my life. And that leads me to that third piece that's so important when it comes to taking action with desperation to create success, and that's take consistent action. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were your dreams, but being able to realize that none of this is going to happen overnight is key. It's just small incremental steps each and every day. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goals. So commit to taking consistent action even when it's hard, even when you feel like giving up. I thought about not doing a podcast for 13 years, but when I set that goal to do a podcast and to be desperate to get to 100 episodes, I wasn't going to let anybody take that away from me. And sometimes I felt like I had 10 heads. Sometimes I felt every insecurity was against me. But I have 100 episodes. That desperation is what propelled me into who I am today, who I am in this current moment. I was able to tap into desperation after accomplishing a lot of goals that I ever wanted to achieve in my athletic success, after achieving some of the goals that I've had in my business success. This podcast piece has been something to where I've taken consistent action and I've reaped the benefits of it by being true to myself, by continuing to claw, by continuing to fight. And that's the desperation that's necessary to do extraordinary things. So as BTB listeners, I want you to listen very carefully. Desperation may be a formidable foe, but it's also a powerful ally. It's one that has the potential to unlock untold possibilities and propel you into the heights you never thought would be possible in your life. It's the very thing that gets you out of complacency, that gets you out of feeling like you're the status quo or the norm, and it gets you uncomfortable enough, the necessary discomfort to do something extraordinary. So I want you to embrace desperation. I want you to harness it. I want you to feel it as your journey of success continues. Because together, if we can turn desperation into determination, and obstacles into opportunities and dreams into a reality, watch how it will change your life. Desperation is by far one of the most important keys to success, one of the most important keys to tap into each and every day, to never settle, to never ever be complacent, but to always be in that necessary discomfort of desperation to go do extraordinary things. I'm proud of each and every one of you. If this BTB short was something that inspired you, if desperation is something that you've either been a part of, have overcome, or currently in, like I am, whatever you're feeling in this moment, if desperation is something that has impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this episode to a family member, friend, or colleague. Tell them how desperation has impacted you, how it will impact them, and let's continue to pay the mission forward. This is what the BTB Project is all about. When you're tapping into what you're built to be, when you're tapping into what you're built to become, desperation is an absolute 1000% prerequisite and a requirement for you to achieve your success. I appreciate you checking out today's episode. And until next time, take care.
You're told I'll be a hard temptation.